Hey, Spider Nation, welcome back to another episode of Spider-Man's Tangled WebShow. I'm Jonathan, webmaster of SpiderManFanRave.com, SpiderManFanRave.com. If you're a longtime viewer of this show, you know what I'm talking about. Just head on over there. And if you're a new viewer of this show, just head on over there anyway. I'll leave it to you to find your own surprise over there. Who knows what you'll find over there? Maybe you'll find Spider-Man fans raving about things. Maybe you'll find Spider-Man fans not raving about things. I don't know. It's the title's not very descriptive.
It goes both ways. We're either raving because it's really good, or we're raving mad because it's really shit.
That voice you just heard was James. How's it going, James?
Going pretty good. Just tired from work. Not too much to complain, except for my copy of the 30th anniversary of Dark Knight Returns, and it's a Marvel podcast, so they're probably going to be really happy about this. I like this book, but there's 3 pages where there's literally 5 balloons that are so faded I can't read the text and know what the hell is going on. Story.
So, congratulations, publishers. You've managed to screw up one of the best comic book stories of all time.
But, DC, I'll forgive you if next week that 80-page, only $2 DC Rebirth, I hope that that's good, and I'm picking that up because I got a few DC books in my pull list, like Dark Detective Comics and, not Teen Titans, but Titans and the Bat books and stuff like that. So, back in 5 days.
As for myself this week, what have I been up to? Not really much, I'll be honest with you. I'm working out my schedule for summer because I'm taking a few summer classes, which I'm really looking forward to. Still one-handed. I'm getting frustrated. Also, something I did this week, I'm going to take this opportunity to pimp out my own stuff because I did something this week that I haven't done in like 2 years. I think it might be 3 actually.
Oh my God, you went on a date.
No, James. Thanks, James.
I like how my burn, you make it more worse by going in like no, James, it wasn't that.
I'm pretty sure I'm like more attractive than. Just gonna not touch that one. All right. All right. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah. I wrote a fan fiction this week because I've had this weird urge over the last few weeks to sit down and write something. So go on fanfiction.net under the Spider-Man section. You can find a story called Perspectives and Expectations. It's pretty short. It'll take you like no more than 5 minutes to read. It's literally just Peter sitting in his room thinking about things. All right. It's not really very complex at all. It's just a little thing I threw out there just as a way of getting back into the writing world. So yeah, if you're interested, go on over to fanfiction.net. Perspectives and Expectations. That's the title of the story. Spider Nerd is my pen name, and Spider Nerd is my name basically everywhere. So if you see a Spider Nerd name, it's probably me. But it has to be that name, not Spidey Nerd. I'm not that guy on Ranger Board. Who James thought was me, and I actually can kind of see why he thought it was me, but it's not me. I'm Spidey.
Because his profile picture was something that John liked. His name was Spidey Nerd, and his like little caption, signature thing was something John would say. So of course I assumed it was John.
Yeah, it was actually really scary how close that guy was to like actually being me, but it actually wasn't me. I was like, no, James.
Just think about it, John. You just wrote fan fiction, which means you're almost qualified to be this for an Amazing Spider-Man.
Wow, James, way to make me feel horrible about myself. Ooh, did we just? Oh, I think I just got a burn there.
What? You don't like the Zodiac?
No, James. I prefer to focus on villains that are actually scary, or actually like pose something of a threat, instead of focusing all of their energy around astrology, which I'm not going to comment about because I feel like I know there are devout believers in astrology, but so yeah, if you're interested, head on over to fanfiction.net. I wrote a little piece over there, Perspectives and Expectations. I've said that like a million times, but any feedback is welcome, positive, negative. Just leave a review. And yeah, I appreciate that. So what are we going to talk about this week? Well, we have a bit of news that's going to contradict some news that we reported a few weeks ago that also contradicted news that we reported like a week earlier before that episode. Apparently, Michael Keaton has changed his mind for like the third freaking time about the Spider-Man Homecoming movie and whether or not he wants to be in it. Apparently, he is not only is he back in talks to play the villain, he's actually like one step away from it. They've legitimately laid an offer down on the table and said, hey, you can take this, we can negotiate it, but we kind of want you. So apparently Michael Keaton could end up being the Vulture after all. So Batman to Birdman to essentially Birdman again, except a little bit crazier. Well, it's not too far off from Michael Keaton.
I know.
But yeah, so apparently the Vulture's going to, I mean, this is still not confirmed yet. Michael Keaton could still drop out again, and all of this could be a complete waste of time. But this is actually part of a larger story of movie rumors that have been going around this week. And I know
there's so many.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure 90% of them are bullshit.
I'm pretty sure 99% of them are bullshit. But like,
well, I'm gonna say 10% of them might be true because 10% of them are things that they could do. There's other things that I don't see them doing with it, especially the first movie.
I'm kind of hesitant to bring up some of these rumors because it almost feels like wasting time to me. But the only rumor that we're really going to bring up is the Michael Keaton thing, and it's because of what is attached to it. Michael Keaton is rumored to be playing the Vulture, and apparently the Vulture is not going to be working alone. The Vulture could be assisted by the Tinkerer. Now, apparently, what comes to my mind after reading this news is, oh my God, are they just going to literally adapt Amazing Spider-Man #2? Just get Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's comic out and just panel by panel, just rip it out.
Which makes sense because they can't really do issue 1 since the Fantastic Four are in issue 1. So they went to issue 2. Which means the second movie is confirmed to be Doc Ock as the villain, and the third movie is confirmed to be Sandman the villain.
Well, they can't do issue 3 because they have the Human Torch in there. So,
they can edit him out. They can replace him with somebody else.
They could say, "Oh, Steve Rogers is in town to fight Doc Ock, but he's currently old man Steve Rogers because reasons."
He's currently hiding because of all the stuff from Civil War, so he can't come out and fight Doc Ock.
He's in the city. We're gonna tell you he's in the city because reasons. Because reasons. But he can't actually fight Doc Ock because the U.S. government kind of hates him. Because, he went against their orders and also, single-handedly broke into a really secure prison in the middle of the ocean and broke 6 people out of jail. But, yeah. James, what do you think of the Tinkerer and the Vulture possibly being in this movie?
Michael Keaton stuff, nothing much has changed from like a month or so ago when we talked about it the first time. He is still my favorite live-action Batman. My favorite live-action Batman is still Michael Keaton, so it's going to be awesome. I think if he is going tearing back forward, I think it is just a case of, do I really want to get in a superhero comic book franchise again after everything I had to go for 2 years of Batman? Because he liked Batman. He never really talks bad, but the worst that he does say is, like, there was a lot of days on set where I'm like staring at, Danny DeVito or Jack Nicholson, and we're just cracking up laughing, like, don't we look stupid in these costumes? And I can see him definitely like, do I want to get back into one of those again? Do I really want to get back into a superhero franchise?
Well, I mean, it's not like the Vulture's the most menacing villain ever. I mean,
well, that's what I mean, though. He looked in the mirror at himself in the Batman costume, and he laughed at it, thinking, "Oh my God, I look like an idiot." Green, furry, feathery. I can see him doing the same thing, like, "Oh my God."
Well, no, like what I mean is, like, if Michael Keaton's in this movie, he's only going to be in it for probably one film. I mean, I don't really see them reusing the Vulture again unless they want to go down the Sinister Six route. Which, with everything that that happened with Sony and the let's call it dilemma. Let's be generous and call it the dilemma they had with that whole idea. Yeah, I don't think they're going to want to touch any Sinister Six ideas for probably about 20, 30 years. So
I think the one that does throw me off though is like John says, the Tinker one, because they're probably doing this to explain how Adrian Toomes got that suit. Maybe if it is Tinker, but it's weird because I think this is a rumor that might be true, because every rumor about the Vulture has been attached to some different scientific or tech development in the Spider-Man universe, building him the suit. Because like the rumor originally when Keaton was going to be cast was he's going to be Vulture, who's being paid by Oscorp, and the three scientists that are working obviously on building Vulture to get Spider-Man was going to be Warren, Smythe, and Norman. So this is where I could think it could be true, because the other one, it's just now throw Tinker in the mix.
And to expand a little bit more on the information side of this rumor, Tinkerer's actual reason for being in the film, like James said, is to build the Vulture's tech, apparently. But also, he's going to build the Vulture's suit from leftover Chitauri alien tech from Avengers 1, because apparently the government didn't come in and seize all of that crap.
Well, you already knew that in that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like pilot short film thing that they had on the videos.
Apparently, the U.S. government is about as good at seizing alien stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as it is in like the Transformers Cinematic Universe. And so,
oh, you mean the Transformer universe where people are still stupid and they're like, oh, it's just a myth. There's no such thing as Transformers. Even just giant robot battles in big cities all the time.
No, they got rid of that. They got rid of that myth after the second movie. They realized that was stupid. But yeah,
that's where I called it quits, because I liked the first movie. But then when I saw the sequel and it's like they're building like it's a secret identity thing, I'm like, done. Lost all credibility with me. You cannot have giant robots fighting in the city and are able to cover up when literally buildings are being toppled by a giant robot battle.
Yeah, so apparently that's what's going to go down in this movie. And on the villain side, we don't know who's playing the Tinker. We don't know who could play the Tinkerer yet, and that's probably because it's like the early stages of a rumor. The Vulture,
and we don't even know if it is Tinkerer. Like I said, there's so many rumors about who built the suit. It could be some random nobody who we never even heard of before, and people are just throwing comic book names onto it.
Exactly. I mean, the Michael Keaton Vulture thing isn't even technically confirmed, but it's like oh, God.
Because one interesting thing I thought of is they could really go down the route that I always thought they should, and they kind of did in Amazing Spider-Man 2, kind of, where the thing that people always said they would like to see in a Superman movie, how one of the lesser known villains, you always have to be like the very early fight, kind of similar to what they did in Captain America Civil War, but that was more of just, finally kind of a loose end from the previous movie, but like a unrelated, just the hero comes in and stop a bank robber of like a delayed villain. I always said like that would be a brilliant way to explain Shocker having his thing, and you could do that in a Spider-Man movie, is as it's reverse tech from something else, and obviously you can explain that, oh, he reversed some tech from Ultron or whatever, and he got his hands on it, and he's now using that to rob banks and shoot vibration electricity or whatever it is. You can, and I love that they do that route that I always said they should do with these things. It's gonna be awesome. I think if that's your way to explain how people like that can get these stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's all speculation right now. None of this is set in stone. I'd like to see Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I think it could be. I think having Michael Keaton play the Vulture could be an interesting idea. Again, the Vulture is not someone we've seen on screen yet in a Spider-Man movie. Amazing Spider-Man 2 tried to hint at him, but they kind of pulled the plug on that before they could get to him. So I think it's an interesting concept. The Tinkerer in this movie, You know what? James mentioned Danny DeVito. I don't know why, but I'm picturing that now. Like Danny DeVito as the Tinkerer. I don't know why that image amuses me, but it does.
Well, J.K. Simmons and Willem Dafoe are in the DC cinematic universe now, so why can't Batman people be in the Spider-Man MCU cinematic universe?
All right, so we got Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I want Danny DeVito as the Tinkerer. I'm calling it right now. Marvel, Sony. If that doesn't happen, I'm not seeing the movie. That's a lie. That's a lie, by the way.
John's lying.
Everyone knows I'll be there. I'll be there opening day.
Yeah, because of course you're gonna be there because you're gonna boo every scene that Tom Holland's in and be holding up a sign saying, "When it rains, it's I want Andrew Garfield." It doesn't even rhyme. It's just when it rains. It doesn't say doors or whatever. It just says, "When it rains, I want Andrew Garfield."
When it's sunny, I still want Andrew Garfield. That's not true. I like Tom Holland. I think he does a good job.
And another thing, I just find it funny that Tinker is in the movie. I just find it hilarious that Vulture can't get a goddamn movie by himself to save his life. Because Spider-Man 3, it was going to be him and Sandman. It was going to be him and Black Cat. And now it's going to be either him and Goblin, Jackal, and Spider Slayers, or him and Tinkerer.
I feel like the him and Tinkerer one is a bit more. I could see that one being a little bit more
true.
The
only way I can see the other being true if they save it for like an end credit twist that, oh my god, it wasn't just a crazy old man tinkering away with alien tech. He's an employee by Oscorp. Oh my god, it was their master plan all along. Oh my god, they just set it up sequels. You know, that I can see then, okay? But I'm not seeing it like the whole movie being like the Spider-Man cartoon where it's like they're all in a room like looking at a big monitor like, Smythe, I told you to do this. Well, Mr. Osborn, I'm trying the best I can. You know, like they actually had episodes like that in that first season. I can't see them doing that in live action.
You failed, Smythe. My robotics performed perfectly, Mr. Osborn. It was your stupidity that ultimately cost everything. Everything.
And then Miles Warren's only reasoning for being in the movie is, I got an idea. We'll clone him. Then we'll clone his girlfriend. Then we'll kill the clone, but we'll make him think that he's the clone. So he'll go around years trying to figure out if it's him or the blonde clone is the original or the clone. Then we'll clone his dead girlfriend. Then we'll clone another clone and make him deformed, and that clone then will go around ripping off people's faces. And because that clone has Peter Parker's fingerprints and DNA, he'll get arrested, and people assume that that clone is Spider-Man. And then him, that clone, another clone that's really cheesy 90s clone, that deformed clone, other clones, a maximum clonage, all these clones, I'm a clone, and you're the mastermind of Osborn revealed in the end because we fucked up. That's the most dumbest idea I have heard. But it will work. All of a sudden it is Spider-Man Homecoming 2 Clone Saga. Yeah, we're cramming it all in a 2-hour movie. Suck it. That's like the name of the movie. Amazing Spider-Man Homecoming 2. We're doing the Clone Saga all in one movie, and we're putting everything. Suck it.
Get ready for it to feel like you're on an acid trip. But yeah,
it was like the most confusing Spider-Man movie ever because everybody in the theater is gonna be like this because of how fast it's going. It's like in Fast Forward Rewind 2 just to get through everything. And so here's everybody in the audience. Wait, who? What? Like 5 minutes in the movie.
Who the fuck is Ben Reilly? Oh,
who the fuck is in that smokestack? Why do I give a shit about this Kane guy?
Why do I hate this movie? Oh, right, because it's based on a bad comic book plot. All right. So that's pretty much all we have to say about the news this week. Again, it's all rumors. It's all speculation. The Spider-Man Homecoming movie starts filming. It's supposed to start filming in a couple weeks. Like, shooting is supposed to start in June, I think. So we'll probably get.
June. I heard July. Bet you they don't got the villain cast. So I heard rumors that it might be July, but that might be a case of if Keaton or whoever do get as the villain, they don't start filming till July, and their things without them started June. On it.
Yeah, so it's like we'll probably get plenty more casting news in the coming weeks. So I'd say look out for that. It's going to be interesting, and we may even get a look at like what if the movie suit has any new designs or anything. We may get a look at that. That's when we start getting
I'm pretty
set.
sure they are, because that's how they're going to explain Tony being in the movie, I think. Him say, hey, my costume got ripped. Can you get me a new one?
God damn it, kid. You had one job.
And then there's another rumor I had where I thought that actually could be a really cool way of getting Tony in the movie, is that Peter wants to be cool when he asks out Sally Averill or Liz Allen or whoever to the dance. You know,
So
that it should be him going up to Tony Stark, because Tony Stark is like the biggest playboy in the Marvel universe. So I could see it being like, hey, Tony, get a girl. And then like there's a whole montage of him trying to make Peter look cool and it doesn't work. But I could actually see them doing that.
Why do I feel like I did like all I see when James says that is just this montage of Tony and Peter standing in front of a mirror and Peter trying on several different pairs of douchebag sunglasses.
You mean like that 80s movie where it's like we're turning the nerdy girl in the school into the most popular girl, and then surprise she ends up turning into a bitch, and then the original popular girls don't like her now because now she's even more popular than them? That kind of twist, you know?
Oh my god, that's. I want all of this.
It's going to be that with Peter Parker.
I want all of this stuff. Douchebag sunglasses montage. Now, Peter, if you want to get a girl, you got to hold the glass fancy, pinky in the air. All right. We'll move on now to our review section of this week. We don't have any current comics to review because we're only getting one issue of ASM this month, not counting next week's .1 issue, which I'm still not going to read because damn. So the next issue of ASM that we have is June 1st with Power Play Part 2, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, number 13. But don't worry, Dan Slott, because if you're watching this, we're still going to review one of your comics. Actually, we're going to review two of your comics because, boy, we got Amazing Spider-Man 590 and 591 here tonight. These issues are actually a pivotal point in the Brand New Day storyline because they finally get around to explaining why the hell everyone forgot that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
You know, something that should have been there from issue 1?
Yeah, something they really should have explained around issue 546. Oh, yeah, they didn't explain it till now. Why they didn't explain?
And you know the big reason why, because I assume right now this is one of the retcons from the Backlash of One More Day. That they were just gonna go live with it. It's magic. We don't gotta explain it. Just move on. And then somebody were like, "No, you need to explain this shit." No, we are explaining. It's Mephisto. This shit because he's talking about weird shit and it's confusing us now. Okay, we'll explain something else happened.
The psychic mind block, one of the worst ideas of Brand New Day, in my opinion. I don't mind him having a secret identity again. I like that part. It's the fact that the mind block. We'll talk about the mind block when we get there.
It was bad because they spent a year and a half literally making everybody look like dumbasses.
Yeah.
You literally had issues where people who used to know the secret, and it still kind of goes on nowadays with some people, and like Tony Stark and Norman Osborn, and it's to the point that it's frustrating that they don't understand it. Like we make that joke, everybody does about that Venom in New Ways to Die, where he's all like, "We know everything about him. We know about his nightmares. We know everything about him even before he does it. We don't know who the fuck he is, but we know everything else." You know, it's like, and then you had the Harry thing from that Harry issue where it's like, Spider-Man and Peter here in New Jersey and Peter disappeared? He must have called you, didn't he? It's like,
no, Harry.
People aren't that stupid. It's like, okay, you could get away with this in the 60s, but you can't get away with that now, especially when these people knew the secret before, damn it.
All right, but
Osborn, I got you, Parker. I got you because I wanted Spider-Man. Because you're the photographer who takes his photos. I know you'll tell me where he's at. Whew. I mean, it releases all tension from the secret identity when you know that. And he's like, "Oh, Carly can't come in the apartment. I'm sticking to a wall." She would have, when you knew it's like bullshit, because all she was like, "Hey, Peter, are you got like wall suction cups on your hands?" "Yeah." "Okay, bye." I mean, that's how it would have been played off as.
All right, but Amazing Spider-Man 590. We got Dan Slott, writer, Barry Kitson, pencils, Mark Farmer, inks, Dean White on colors, VC's Joe Carmagna on letters, Tom Brennan is bewitched, Stephen Wacker is bothered, and Tom Brevoort is bewildered. Okay. Part 1 of 2 of this storyline, together again, ... for the first time. Get it? Because they're together again, but, it's almost like the first. Get it? All right.
Yeah.
But this story starts off a couple of years ago where Peter Parker and the Fantastic Four are all in the macroverse. It's a reality above our own. How do you do it, Reed? How do you keep finding new worlds to explore? Technically, Sue, this is a different dimension, but if it's worlds you're looking for, I believe those orbs in the upper atmosphere are pocket solar systems. Tiny suns, baby planets, micromoons, astounding. They all defy physical laws. And so while Reed's explaining all this sciencey bullshit, Peter and Johnny they're hanging out. Johnny's trying to explain to Peter, hey, my flame is blue in this universe. Why is that? Oh, well, Johnny, it could be this, 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 and this. My friend, the science geek. You're loving this, aren't you, Pete? Every second, Johnny. Thanks for bringing me along. All of a sudden, they hear the cry of a woman in the distance. It's from just over that ridge. Sue? I know, Reed. We haven't made contact. We haven't made contact yet with any life forms on this Earth. The Uatu protocols are in effect. Sue? Why are you turning invisible? What are Uatu protocols? What's going on? The first rule of cosmic exploration, Spider-Man? Watch, but don't interfere. And they look down into a cavern or a crater or whatever, and they see basically a clusterfuck. I apologize for my language, but
they see that generic thing that's on the back of a lot of really weird vans, where it's like that artwork of like a girl in chainmail holding a sword while a big beefy guy in a loincloth holds a sword and a fire, and there's goblins and dragons. That's basically what they walk into.
Yeah. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go in there. Let's fix the mess. Peter, it's not that simple. Much like the physical laws of this dimension, we have no understanding of the rules and customs here. Screw the rules and customs. Listen, when I see any couple about to get mugged, there's only one rule I follow. That with my great power comes great responsibility. Yes, because we all need to hear that line again.
Well, it's Spider-Man. He can't go 5 minutes without saying it now.
Parker, get back here. What he said. Flame on. It's clobbering time. Well, honey, I guess we got outvoted here. Yeah, I guess that's kind of how families work, right? Well, if we're going to kick some ass, darling, let's do it all together. So they get in there, they stop the conflict, and then we move on to the here and now, where Spider-Man has the looter. I think it's the looter. Yeah, he has the looter tied up to or webbed up to a wall. No, Norton, that's what I like about you. You work with my schedule. I mean, it's 8 o'clock, and you left me plenty of time to go see a movie. And the looter decides to remind him that, I basically got a get out of jail free card because Norman Osborn runs the thing, runs the shit now. He's the guy wearing the pants in the relationship that is himself versus the world. So, I'd say you buy the tickets and I'll meet you there. I prefer large popcorn at the concession stand. And so Spider-Man realizes this, and he starts swinging away. And all of a sudden, Spider-Man, freeze! We've got you surrounded. You are in violation of the Superhuman Registration Act. Oh, please, not this crap again. Oh, it's the fuzz. No, it's not. Johnny, cut that out. You should see the look on your mask. That was so worth it. And so the Fantastic Four have arrived to tell Spider-Man that, hey, remember that trip to the Macroverse we took a few years ago? It was only a few pages ago in terms of this comic, but remember when we took that? Yeah, we just received a distress signal from there, so we're going back, and we want you to come with us. Okay. Hey, Spidey. What's up? What's up, Johnny? Hey, why isn't your name in my phone anymore? Why don't I remember who you are? Because I feel like I used to remember. Hey, Reed. Listen, I can't go to this. Why not? I got work to do, bills to pay. I'm kind of, the average guy who has to work for a living. I'm not part of the Fantastic Four, because I'm super relatable. Of course, and Fantastic Four Incorporated is more than happy to compensate you for your time. I believe this should cover it. Ooh, that's a lot of zeros. So
you mean when it just says cash on it and no zeros at all?
I know, but it seemed it reads that like that's his reaction, but still. So Peter, he pays his rent in full for the month. He calls his Aunt May. He informs her that he's going to be out of town for a while. And while Aunt May is at the feast shelter, I want to cut in for a little interlude in this this recap because I need to give context for this scene. In the previous story arc, actually up to this point in Brand New Day, pretty much there had been the ongoing plot of the mayoral election, to elect the mayor of New York City, that had been running, in conjunction with the actual 2008 presidential election. So because of the entire cluster F that election ended up being in this comic book, and the fact that, the two candidates were found to be corrupt, it ended up being that, there is no new mayor elected of New York City. Well, there was, but he resigned like 24 hours afterwards. So now
and it wasn't really so much that he was corrupt. It was more of a, oh my God, this is bad PR for me, and my daughter's a supervillain.
Yeah, it was like the other guy lost the election, and then the guy who won turned out that he had, that Menace was his daughter, and so he was forced to resign because, we can understand that for every possible reason.
Was for him to win.
Yeah, it's like we can understand that for basically every possible reason. So Blake Tower is now the acting mayor of New York City for a period of 60 days, and they're looking for a new mayor. And he actually comes into the feast shelter to talk to Martin Lee about possibly being a candidate. So Spider-Man, he swings away from his apartment, but just as he does, he gets a phone call from Harry Osborn, who it turns out he's been drinking again because his girlfriend turned out to be a supervillain. I'll be honest, I can kind of understand that. Like, I can understand how one of those things could lead to the other. Like, I'm not advocating that, but I could kind of see that. But so Spider-Man meets the Fantastic Four at the Baxter Building. They're about to embark on their mission. Sue leaves their kids with their aunt and uncle, and Reed is explaining how they're going to get to the Macroverse. He's explaining that to Spider-Man. And, they head out. They actually what it turns out they do is they grow themselves into the Macroverse. And so when they get there, they see, hey, this place looks a lot different than it did when we were here 10 pages ago. I mean, 2 or 3 years ago. Man, these guys, they've gotten themselves almost into a pre-industrial society. Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder. I'd assume that the time difference between their universe and ours was a linear progression. I wonder what exactly is going on here. Hey guys, you guys might want to see this. And Ben Grimm and Spidey take the rest of the FF over to a group of statues where it turns out that Peter Parker and the Fantastic Four are heralded in this universe as gods almost because of their intervention in the war earlier in the issue. And so when the village people see that the 5 of them have returned, they praise them. They're like, "Oh my God, Lord Fantastic Four, Lord Spider-Man, you have returned. You've come to save us all. Don't worry, we promise you won't actually end up like Jesus and crucified on the cross." So they look at the statues and they say, "Man, there's something not right here. Reed, at a time like this, you're worried about your likeness? No, Sue, look at this. It's far too old." "Really, Reed?" No. Listen to what I'm saying." "Yeah, and you all listen to what I'm saying." "Johnny, what's your problem?" "Look at Peter, or look at Spider-Man. He's unmasked, but I can't tell who he is. It's like I used to know, but I can't." Yeah, you can't remember, Johnny. There's a reason for that." "Wait, you know that I don't know?" "Yeah, there's a reason that you don't know, Johnny." Guys, we got problems." And it turns out that not exactly everyone is happy to see Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four returned to their universe. And it also turns out that there is still a very, very deep conflict going on in this village. But before the Fantastic Four can intervene or stop an attack or anything, Reed calls a family meeting, and he's about to tell them, I've miscalculated the time differential between our world and the macroverse. The last time we were here, we lost 2 days when we returned home. I assumed the relationship was a simple linear progression. I was wrong. How wrong? Judging from the wear, tear, and age of our statues. You mean the convenient wear and tear of one statue? Johnny, shut up. No, I want to know who you are. I need to know right now. Johnny, shut up. No, I want to know. Fine. Piss off, Johnny. I'm done. Yeah, you're done. Well done. And Johnny shoots a little flame at Spider-Man's mask, and Spider-Man panics because his mask is on fire. He throws it to the ground, and the issue ends. No way. No freaking way. Yes, freaking way. To be continued. Dun dun dun. So James, what did you think of Amazing Spider-Man number 590 there?
It's a good issue. Not really too much problems to talk about. The artwork's really good. There's a lot of really good moments in here. I like the Human Torch is finally doing something that somebody should have done for months, where it should have been, I fucking already knew the secret. Why the hell can't I remember it? What the hell's going on here? I used to have then you got some weird problems where the psychic mind block. A lot of people, the jokes that they had about it. Well, that's I guess New York doesn't have a fucking TiVo or the internet or newspapers. You can just go back and see who was Spider-Man, who I'm Master in Civil War. And you got that problem here where it's the mind block somehow causes one statue to deteriorate out of all of them, and it just happens to be the face of Spider-Man. A psychic mind block deletes Peter Parker's phone number from Johnny Storm's phone. It's it doesn't make no sense. It's a mind block so that way you can't put two and two together. Not conveniently, it destroys one statue and deletes your phone number and makes it so that people can't go on the internet and look up that issue of the Daily Bugle.
I mean, the psychic mind block was also established to have completely erased all knowledge of Spider-Man's identity from everything, not just people's minds. So
how would it do that, John? It was something that was just magically, I'm gonna make people forget. It did not have magically the power to delete newspapers and internet.
Well, apparently it did, James. I'm not the
That's
writer.
why I assumed. That's why I still to this day believe it was just a retcon of one more day. It was a retcon of, okay, we're gonna give another explanation why people don't remember because this is getting ridiculous, and it still didn't work, in my opinion. There's other really good scenes like Johnny and Peter. It's their classic relationship here, but only it has a little bit more to it because Johnny's pissed because I knew who you are and I can't remember for whatever reason. And I like the first scene where you're seeing them all hanging out, which is kind of weird because they literally, in the original comics, only found out literally days before Civil War.
Was it really that little of time?
Yeah, it was in a mini-series that they kind of allude to with the whole first page. That thing is the cover of it, and it was a mini-series that took place with Civil War as a tie-in, and it was before Civil War. There was Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four when they were on the same side, and they were happy. And it literally was I believe in the book, and it says takes place a few weeks before Civil War. It was the last good adventure they would all had together. So it's really hard to try to fit this, but it is kind of cool though to see Peter talking there, and it's all Johnny, hey, look, my flag's blue. What gives? Because he's talking to somebody who's the same age, so he thinks he can say that he's not going to have Reed with technobabble, and then he remembers, oh shit, Peter Parker knows technobabble. So all of a sudden he gets all that. Well, it's the molecular alert, and he's all oh my god, I said the wrong guy.
Oh my god, I can't escape this crap.
Because it's cool because I literally think he assumed it because him and Peter are the same age. Peter's going to go, I know, right? Isn't it cool? Instead, Peter just going all Reed Richards on him by trying to explain it.
Yeah.
I like the whole kind of recap of everybody's lives after the whole last story arc, which was the Menace reveal, because you saw her dad being I'm no longer mayor and my daughter's a supervillain. Fuck my life. And then you got the Harry, who's all
an understandable response to those circumstances.
Yeah. And then you got Harry just sitting there with the wedding ring, all by myself. And he's listening to that. He's all he has the beer can in his hand, and he's all he turns to, oh, I don't like this song. Goes to the next Spotify thing. How could this happen to me? He goes to the next one. It's one is fuck it, and he throws the phone down.
'Cause baby, all I need is a beauty and a beat. I don't even think those lyrics were right.
I don't know. I don't care.
I don't know.
I like it. It's just I like Johnny's reaction, and the cliffhanger really just said, okay, it was weird because it set it up like, okay, we know Peter is now he's unmasked. Okay, there's gonna be shenanigans with Johnny being mad that Parker didn't tell him, whatever, and we'll get to that revelation in the first few pages when we get to the next issue. But John wants to give his opinion first of this.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I like this issue. I like it a lot. I mean, I know that might come off as a surprise to people, but given how much we've bashed Dan Slott comics on recent episodes, but I think this is a good time to reiterate a point that I've made, and it probably hasn't been clear for a while now. Is I don't hate Dan Slott as a writer, and I don't think all of his comics are bad. I just think the current run of 2016 Amazing Spider-Man is bad. But this, I think, is a perfectly good comic. I think it's a very good Spider-Man Fantastic Four team up. I think there's a lot of good drama in here. Are the humor and dialogue like a little bit overdone at sometimes? Yeah, probably. But overall, I feel like the character dynamics are completely on point. I feel like the relationships are very solid. I like that Slott is following up on a lot of plot threads that even we make the criticism a lot that Brand New Day's Brain Trust usually only dealt with their stories and never anyone else's. I feel like Slott's actually trying to address a few things here, and I think that's very good. The artwork by Barry Kitson, Farmer, and White is very gorgeous in my opinion. It's very appealing, very nice to look at. The drama of Johnny wanting to know Peter's identity again is a fairly reasonable conflict, and I understand both sides of the argument. I can see that Johnny feels a bit betrayed, and I can understand that, and I can also understand Peter's hesitance to reveal his identity to anyone ever again. We're just going to pretend that Bendis New Avengers issue didn't happen because clearly the comic wants us to.
Well, it didn't happen, John.
But so yeah. Ultimately, I give this issue a thumbs up. I think it's very good. I think it's a solid part one of this story, and it's a very, very solid Spider-Man Fantastic Four team up. Dan Slott, I think, usually does pretty well with these. I think he usually, especially because of his Spider-Man Human Torch miniseries, I think he knows the ins and outs of that relationship, particularly between Peter and Johnny. And I usually think he does well with these team ups. So that's pretty much all I had to say on 590. So we're going to segue. James, we're going to have you tackle Amazing Spider-Man number 591 here. I'm just going to give the credits here. We got Dan Slott, writer again, Barry Kitson and Jesse Delpergang, I guess. That is an awesome name. Layouts and finishes. We got Dale Eaglesham also on pencils for a few pages. We got White, Troy, and Chuckery on colors. VC's Joe Caramagna on letters. Tom Brennan is a rock. Steve Wacker is stuck, and Tom Brevoort is a hard place. Get it? Because Steve Wacker's in between a rock and a hard place?
Yeah.
Yeah, get it? So Face Front, Part 2, Nuff Said. So James, take it away. What happens in Amazing Spider-Man number 591?
Well, we begin the issue by explaining that that it's act like New Avengers didn't happen, because right here it clearly says in the whole kind of continuity thing that New Avengers issue, working on masses, takes place before the story. After the story. Wow. Thank you for, instead of just putting a little like the asterisk thing there and then saying New Avengers takes place after this, when you get to the end of the book, let's just spoil that he is going to be unmasked at the end of the story and they're going to know who he is by explaining to you already that this takes place before that issue of New Avengers from months ago.
And I also like that they said that continuity is cited as reasoning. Like they're not even trying to.
Bendis not giving a shit about continuity.
Yeah, it's like Bendis to blame for continuity screw up.
I like that issue, and it was shocking how it was like immediately like 6 months, because at first well, I don't want to say 6 months because like the first year Bendis was dealing with Secret Invasion like immediately after the unmasking, the remasking. So he couldn't really touch it because he had the big multi-arc, Secret Invasion. But immediately the next arc after it, it was like, take off your mask. Okay. It's like immediately like Bendis is like, fuck that, I want Peter to be unmasked. But yeah, he ignored the psychic mind block because he probably didn't bother to ask what was going on. He just assumed, oh, it's magic. They didn't explain it. And then so he had Peter unmasked. So you get this weird kind of thing where we go in this book where they explain it, as, oh, immediately after I take off my mask, people remember who I am. That New Avenger issue, it's all like, everybody's like, who? When they were all teammates of Peter Parker, before Civil War, they should immediately go, hey, it's Peter. Instead, they were all like, who?
All right. So what happens in this issue, James?
Well, this issue begins with the most biggest cock-block in comic history at the time, I thought, when I was first reading this issue, because it reveals that, oh, he has no head because Sue just was fast enough to make, after he ripped off the mask because it was on fire, and he immediately went like this real fast. She was faster to make his whole head go invisible so that way nobody could see him.
James, clearly when you thought that this was the biggest cock block in comic history, you'd clearly never read any Spidey Black Cat issues at that point.
But I mean it in like a sense of, you thought going after the end of the last issue that, okay, the secret's out, and they put that little insert in the beginning saying it happens before New Avengers, and then you get to the first page and you're like, they're going to say that because it's going to be revealed that he's not unmasked. And you get pissed because it's like, what the fuck here? This is dumb, And then you got more of the shit. Johnny's mad at Sue for doing that, and Peter puts back on that, and then Ben's all like, fuck this shit, I'm going to go fight.
That's pretty much what he says.
They start fighting, and there's a lot of bickering as Johnny's still pissed off at what's going on. Then we see a beginning of a budding romance with Harry and Carly that literally goes nowhere, because it's never mentioned again after this arc, because they immediately realize, hey, we got to start wrapping up Brand New Day era. We really want to push Carly as the new girlfriend because she's totally cool and awesome. So this clear setting up of shipping between them two that's actually kind of organic, as they were both fucked over by Lily and their pain, they're coming together. Yeah, let's fuck that around and just make it that Harry likes her because she's so perfect for Peter. And then, you get more of Jonah doing Jonah shit as you realize time's flying so fast, and Reed's explaining it more, how 1 minute here is like months in the Marvel Universe, and again, it fucks over New Avengers because, as we explained earlier, Bendis doesn't give a shit about continuity. We get more people progressing and falling in love and getting close as Peter's not there. We get more fighting between Johnny does not know how to let fucking things go for 5 fucking minutes. And then Ben goes on this big long, coach speech about teaming up with the Fantastic Four and how we're all had to be in this together. Because when you're teaming up with the Fantastic Four, you're not just an outsider teaming up with us. You're like one of the team, because we all need to work together and teamwork and best friends and Harley cards and all that bullshit. And then of course they have to make Ben look like the biggest idiot by saying there's no I in Fantastic Four, and then Reed has to explain that there is, and then Sue says, "Shut up, honey, he's on a roll,"
which is actually really funny. I'll admit.
It's like really cool because there's even some issues of Fantastic Four where it's like he does say something like that, but it's more like, there's no I in Team Johnny, and he goes, but there is an ME, and he starts doing Johnny Storm shit. He's like, I'll get you, hothead. And then you get like this really weird moment where they're all like, okay, teamwork, let's all do the whole, everybody put their hands in and say Power Rangers, and it's like Johnny's still pissed, and it's like Johnny will never learn. Because he's still like, I'm going to burn your hand off because you didn't tell me your secret. And it's like, dude, what did we just fucking say? Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore.
And then we get more of, tell me if you haven't heard this before, more of them fighting and Johnny bickering.
Ooh, I don't.
More of them.
Let's see.
Fighting
Two superheroes bickering. Man, James, where have we ever heard that before?
But I mean, it's annoying. Like every panel Johnny says in this issue is, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me? It's like, Johnny, I get it, these are big things, and the fans have been saying this too. But you're in the middle of a fight. You just had a big speech about teamwork, and you're still fucking on about it. And it's to the point that Peter like actually has to pull him aside during the fight, like, dude, my costume's not a uniform like you. It's to protect my secret identity. How many times do we have to stop this fight so I can repeat the same narrative over and over again to you? Because that's where it's getting annoying. Because they constantly have to stop the fight, and Peter has to constantly keep on doing the same stick that he's been doing. And ironically, on that new Avengers issue, where it's like even after he re-unmasked, it's like, I can't tell you guys. Oh, you guys know my secret, but you can't see me. I still have to wear a mask everywhere I go, even though the whole reason me unmasking was to make you guys feel safe that no supervillain will see me there and immediately know that you guys are hiding out here. But I still gotta wear the mask. And it's bullshit. And it's like him doing it here too, where it's like that super over-the-top paranoid Peter Parker, which is completely hypocritical to how he acts to other superheroes with secret identities, where it's like, how dare they not tell me? Says the guy with the mind-blocking deal with the devil to keep his identity
secret. He's the guy
secret.
who's probably the most protective of his secret identity in the whole Marvel universe.
And then you got more stuff with Dexter Bennett as his plot line, like, went nowhere, continues to go fucking nowhere. Then you got more, like, Jonah shit, and then you got Flash and Betty getting back together, and then you got Jay and, you know, May about to hook up and have sex in the bed like you see at the end of the next story arc.
Oh, God.
And then you got more... Then you get more Spider-Man fighting, and it's revealed that the villain, I am your father, to one of the fighters there. And it's all happy ending. It's a metaphor because now it's a family getting back together, and it's a metaphor for Spider-Man being treated as a member of the Fantastic Four family, and we get it already. And then we get more of Johnny and them like being like, so, tell me your secret.
Did you really not
it's like,
learn
anything? A heartwarming moment. Immediately, Johnny's like, it's kind of like us, Peter. Now tell me who you are.
And Peter's just like, oh, Jesus Christ, okay.
And I like it how Reed is one of the, because it was the Illuminati that did the mind wipe. Because, yeah, we can't say it's a deal with the devil, but we'll say that the Marvel version of the Illuminati did it, which are people who made deals with a devil, according to the Bible. But let's completely wipe that underneath the rug. And he's all like, oh, fascinating, a psychic mind block. And it's like, it's fascinating. It would even be more fascinating if we would have explained it a year ago.
Or, you know, like just giving us, like, maybe not even explained it, just like giving us something. Just say, oh, hey.
Oh, they did give us something. Vague bullshit. That means you yell bullshit your comic.
Yeah, okay, true. I'll take it back.
The closest we got to it was Peter saying to the whole Norman thing, I captured you, Parker, because I wanted Spider-Man. Because you take his photos. And him being like, woo, everything we did is still on the up and up. My secret is safe from that deal. Because it's fake, if we want the fans to think it's Mephisto. Oh, we're so smart. No, you're not. You're stupid and it's retarded and you made people mad.
Jesus, James. Just someone's mad.
I apologize for that last remark, but that's how I felt at the time.
That was mean. Okay.
And it's just so weird. And it's like, Reed's all like fascinating, really fascinating. And then Spider-Man goes through his whole paranoid speech that he's literally been doing in every team book that he's at in this time. It's like, this is at the time where Peter became Oprah, where it's like, I unmasked after everything he did in Civil War. This is when Marvel realized, yeah, it's kind of stupid. Most of the heroes, but Tony, should be in and on the secret. So this became, I take my mask for you. You get off my mask off. I take my mask off. I take my mask off. Everybody but Tony gets to see me with my mask off.
Well, I mean, like, in fairness, I can understand the hesitance to reveal it to Tony, of all people.
No, Tony, yeah, I get. That's why I said it's everything but Tony. But then you get Peter's whole, but then he does that, and then he immediately goes back to, no, I shouldn't have done that. No, I can't. I took off my mask so I can protect your baby, Jessica and Luke. But I still got to wear my mask everywhere I go and make him a target.
Which ironically, in 600, he tries to take off the mask for Daredevil, and Daredevil's like, dude, all right, first of all, I can't keep a secret worth crap, so don't...
But Daredevil's in on it again. I think he is on it because some of the Daredevil writers in their book realize, yeah, it's dumb that he can't use his radar sense and just notice that it's Peter Parker. So they completely, this was their way around it.
Yeah, so it's like, Daredevil.
So I think their way around it is because these guys think the Spider-Man book still treated as he doesn't know. So I think it's more of a case of he knows. He doesn't want Peter to know that he knows. it's weird because it's just weird because it's that weird thing that's going on where, like I said, like he immediately goes, okay, he's like doing the paranoid stick, and he takes off the mask, and then he immediately goes back to be like, no, I shouldn't have done that. You should have known my secret. And he does that a lot in this era. He's like, he takes off the mask, and then it's me like almost like completely like bullshit because then he immediately starts wearing the mask everywhere he goes. Like he did it to protect Jessica and Luke's kid, so that way a supervillain couldn't follow Spider-Man and find out where they're hiding, and Osborn kills them all. That's why they did it, because nobody's gonna give a shit if Peter Parker walks into an abandoned warehouse. He doesn't think that nobody. He immediately assumes that, oh my god, if people see Peter Parker here, they're gonna be on my secret, and they're not gonna immediately go, oh my god, Peter Parker's here in this random abandoned building. Who the hell cares?
Yeah, and you know what? You know what I just noticed about this issue right after Peter takes off the mask? Why does like Sue Storm kisses him on the cheek with her husband right there, and Reed looks kind of pissed off, like, God damn it.
I think it's more of a whole cheeky. I think it's. I know what I think it is. I think that now that he says you'll remember everything. It's like, oh yeah, I'm the one who did this. Cheeky bastard didn't give me credit. And then you get more like after Johnny is being asshole about this whole thing, he turns into more, no, Peter, Ben's right. When you're with us, we're a team. Why weren't you nice about it before, Johnny? Why are you nice about it now? The rest of the comic, you're like willing to burn Spider-Man alive to find out the secret multiple times. So yeah, he takes out the mask to them, and he's really hesitant, like he was in New Avengers, except this is handled a lot more better. Like I said, New Avengers. Hi guys, it's Peter. Who? Who the fuck is Peter? Hey, I'm Jessica Jones. I know who you are because Ben just wrote me in Ultimate being in your same high school, and he decided to do it here too. Okay. Oh yeah. And you also like pancakes. Actually, it was wheat cakes, but Ben doesn't know about. Like, he doesn't give a shit about continuity. Luke's Cage is mad at me. Oh, I should immediately be moaning and crying again about taking out my mask. Here, it's actually handled really well because it's all like he immediately takes it off, and it's like nothing changed. It's like, hey, Peter, what's up? Literally, the next line from Johnny is, "Hey Pete, long time no see."
Yeah,
it was like literally handled 100 times better than it was in New Avengers. So then you got Peter. You know, they all get back home and they realize the month changed and it's classic Spider-Man. Oh my God, I'm probably evicted now because I didn't pay my rent for months. Oh, people probably think I'm dead. My aunt's worried about me. My life's shit. Okay, classic Spider-Man luck thing. Whoops away. And then Johnny goes as loud as he can. Okay, Peter, see you around. And then Peter immediately starts probably regretting doing the
and then of course you get the creme de la creme of the issue,
where Peter wakes up and realizes that New York. He realizes, oh my God, multiverse place. If they weren't in a different multiverse, he was home all along. You maniacs! You did it! Look what you've done! You damn dirty apes! No, I'm just joking. It's revealed that Norman Osborn's the president. No, even worse, J. Jonah Jameson is mayor.
Because he somehow managed to pull off a historic special election victory as a third-party candidate. And they're just like, yeah, it's comics, just go with it. And I'm just like, fine, whatever. So, yeah.
I like how his spider sense goes off by it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, something's wrong.
Yeah, I just love how his spider sense is tuned into Jonah's bullshit.
I kind of like that idea, to be honest with you. It's like, it's so absurd that it's lovable. But James, so what do you think of Amazing Spider-Man number 591 here?
It's a good issue, but I do have my problems. Like, Johnny's endlessly bitching and moaning about it to the point that 4 or 5 times in the comics somebody has to pull him aside and say, dude, time and place, not now. And he immediately, I get it, it's Johnny Storm, he's a hothead, he's a jerk, he can be this way. But even Johnny Storm now, and like Johnny Storm in the 60s, I get it. Johnny Storm now, she'll be like fighting and he might make a joke every once in a while, well, how can I trust you? But he wouldn't be every line down like, tell me your secret, I will burn you if you don't tell me your secret. It was really repetitive and annoying. Like I said, I like the whole setting up for later issues. The only one I have a problem with is it's pretty clear they're setting up something between Carly and Harry they're shipping them. They are like, because they're both broken by the same person, so they're coming together, and it's completely immediately undone because they want Carly to be. So it's like, why did you even set this up if the next time you see them both together, it's immediately, Peter, Carly's a great girl, and it's not because he's revealing that he's dating her now. Peter, she's a great girl because she's so perfect for you. You should totally go out with her. She's so perfect for you. She's perfect for her. And it's like, that's when it got really. That's when it really hit me, where I kind of turned on Carly. Where I was like, oh yeah, she's cute. I'll like to see her and Peter maybe go out a few times for a date. To be like, oh my god, get her off the book, because that's where it got annoying, because they were setting up her and Harry organically here, just to force feed her to Peter. Got that stuff, but besides that, it's still really good. The art change is kind of off because I really like Kitson's art, and the new art is kind of went like really muscular with the Fantastic Four during his section. So it's really weird how Reed immediately beefs up the bodybuilder size in like the next panels where the new art is, but whatever. And Peter with the whole secret thing, like I said, it's handled a lot better here than it was in New Avengers. Because it's basically the same thing, too, where he's all like, if I unmask to you and a supervillain follows me, I'm dead. If one of you guys get tortured and they ask you who's Spider-Man, I'm dead. If this happens, I'm dead. And it's kind of weird because at this time, you realize that, like John said, that's bullshit, because the mind block will make them not realize it is. They'll think, who's Peter Parker, or better off, if they do know Peter Parker, they'll just laugh it off as, yeah, that nerdy kid from Midtown High, oh, he can't be Spider-Man, you know? And it's also kind of weird because he's all like, what if Norman Osborn does something with the Superhero Restoration Act? And he's actually kind of right there, because in an issue of Iron Man, they set it up that they set it up there, like, because Bendis doesn't say it at all during Dark Reign and Siege. Every other book in the Marvel treated it as Norman's endgame is always going to be just a fuck around with Spider-Man. So they had the first thing he does in Power with the Restoration Act when he's trying to kill off Tony. He doesn't try to look up Tony's shit. He immediately types in Superhero Resurrection Act because Spider-Man was registered. What was his name? And then the first file that Tony deleted was the Spider-Man Secret Identity one. And it's like, and he like flips his desk and he like gets all enraged by it. So it's kind of funny how Peter's like, what if Norman looks up the Superhero Resurrection Act? He already tried that, and Tony already deleted that file conveniently. Like, that was the first one Tony deleted because he knew that exactly that's what Norman was going to go to. So I like that. Like I said, it's handled here a lot better. How it's immediately, like, after he unmasks, they stare at him and they're all like hugging him and kissing him on the cheek and like, "Hey, Peter, welcome back." And it's really handled nice. Kind of thing, which at the time I was like, bullshit, because I'm like, really, Jonah's the mayor? How the hell is this gonna work? And literally, it ended up being a really good time in the book. The whole idea that the mayor of New York is J. Jonah Jameson. And ironic enough, twice in New York, the mayor resigned.
Okay.
Not only that, but I do kind of love it too, how it was almost on this excuse, like, if you're a Marvel book and it takes place in New York, which is 99% of them, you now had to deal with not Norman Osborn, with Norman Osborn running S.H.I.E.L.D. and J. Jonah Jameson being the mayor of New York. You had to deal with that now. If you were anybody writing a different Marvel book, you had to deal with Osborn's running S.H.I.E.L.D. and Jonah's mayor.
All right, James. So do you give this one a thumbs up, a thumbs sideways, or a thumbs down?
First issue I gave it a thumbs up. This one I give it a sideways because there's good things I like, but the repetitive Johnny Storm stuff takes it down a lot. I think it gets really repetitive and annoying to me. But overall, I give it a thumbs up.
All right. I'll agree with like most of what James said. The childish squabbling, I think, between Peter and Johnny got really old really quickly, because like I feel like both characters are supposed to be much more mature than they were in this issue. Johnny annoyed me more so than Peter, but Peter, had his fair share of childish moments as well. I like a lot of what they did with the supporting cast, like with Carly and Harry. I really wish the Carly and Harry thing had actually gone somewhere, but I'm not going to hold that against this issue. The Jonah being mayor is one of the best ideas to come out of Brand New Day, in my opinion. It's just, I love that. And I really wish he still was the mayor. I think that storyline, it really, I'll just say, like, in the future, I don't think it ever really lived up to its full potential, but I think it's a great idea. So I like that cliffhanger, and also, like we mentioned, I like that Peter's spider sense goes off just because, it's like it's tuned into like, oh my god, this is not gonna be good. So that's good. Kitson, his art again, like all that entire those sections are really good. The art change, like when the art changes, it's a bit. I don't really like usually when there's multiple different artists with different styles switching it on and off for different pages in a book. So that's a bit of a down for me. But overall, Kitson's art is, for when it's there, it's really good. I like the scene, of course, with Peter unmasking and then the Fantastic Four re-embracing him. James made most of the points. It's a psychic mind block about how like basically none of it makes sense. So I don't really feel a need to repeat any of that. But overall, I give this issue. It's not a thumbs sideways, but it's not a thumbs up. It's like a thumbs, like thumbs diagonal, I guess. So it's not great, but it's not exactly meh. It's good. It's got its problems, but it's good. It's decent. It's not the worst comic ever. It's not the best, but it's still good. It's still very enjoyable. I feel like I got my money.
It's not a bad comic. It's not a good comic. It's the comic. Wrestling fans will get that and immediately get annoyed by it.
All right, but that's pretty much all we have to say about these comics, and that's also going to do it for this episode of the podcast. We don't really have anything else to talk about this week. So, James, any final shout-outs or words for the listeners before we sign off?
Not much. Just normal, like, just be safe and be awesome and be cool, and see you all next week. I'm going to go see X-Men Apocalypse because I'm going to judge it for myself. Ghostbusters because I'm not sexist, but I think the movie looks unfunny. And so I'm not going to see Ghostbusters, but I am going to give X-Men.
When does Ghostbusters even come out?
Like June. I don't even care. I saw 3 trailers already for it, and all 3 of them, I have not laughed 1 minute of it. And yet, supposedly, a lot of people on the internet, even the point they're trying to flag for copyright infringement on videos, to take them down because supposedly you're sexist if you say you don't want to see a female Ghostbusters. Because those people who are saying that are the ones that are focusing on the fact that they're 4 females. Me and a lot of other people are like, no, it's just a remake that doesn't look funny.
All right, but
So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I know some people are going to say that I don't want to go see Ghostbusters and I want to go see X-Men, so I don't want people to freak out and say, oh my god, it has something to do with sex because, oh my god, there's not female X-Men.
My shout out this week: Marvel, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, Dan Slott, Barry Kitson, Steve Wacker, all of them. Thank you for Spider-Man. Thank you for the comics we reviewed this week. Other shout out: Spidey #6 by Robbie Thompson and the artist, I forget his name right now. I'm sorry. That was a good comic this week. Once again, proving why the Spidey book is continuing to be awesome. The 4th issue of Miles Morales Spider-Man. I usually like that book. I usually really like that title, but they really fumbled the ball this week. I really think they did. It was really unfortunate. Other shout-outs. Yeah. Oh, this is our 50th episode on YouTube. That's
Yay.
I guess that's something of a milestone to celebrate. If you count in all of the episodes we've done, like of the old iTunes podcasts and everything, and the pilot episode we did for this show, we're at like 93 episodes now. So we're like almost to 100 technically. Even so, I don't know if we'll do anything special. I really don't. And to be honest, if we do, it's probably not going to be all that special. It'll just be like,
oh, I do got a shout out because this week I got Kekken Ranger on DVD. So shout out to Shout Factory for continuing releasing Super Sentai on DVD. There's only like really one problem with it, and people are still bitching on it because here's one thing: when you're a Toku fan, it doesn't matter if you're a fan sub or your official sub. People will find stuff to bitch about your sub. Because for years it was like you didn't like just if you didn't like overtime subs or that were more like what's called soft subs or the hard subs of TV Nihon, there was always fan wars and debate. Everybody always was shouting them, and everybody said, "Well, when an official sub comes, you'll see what it is like." And then the official subs come out, and people find some reason to bitch about them. So you got that, and there's like one problem where they untranslated Oni-chan, which is supposed to be, you know, brother, which is a kid thing that kids say to older, like not to adults, but like teenagers and people in their 20s. They'll call them older brother, which is Oni-chan, and then they untranslated that on a few episodes, but it's like literally you can ignore that and get over it. And people are bitching about they didn't translate the robots. Well, nobody ever translates the name of the robots because that's the fucking name. You don't go into an Italian restaurant and say, I want to order chamber pot, which is the translation of lasagna. You say, I'm ordering lasagna because that's the name of it. Moving on, people.
All right. Other than that, my last shout out once again, my fan fiction perspectives and expectations. If you want to check that out, it's over on fanfiction.net. You can go look that up. And yeah. I think that's all we got. I think that's all we got to say this week. So yeah, thank you for everyone who tuned in. We had some live viewers for this episode. I very much appreciate that. Next week we'll come back. Don't know what we'll talk about yet because there's still not going to be any new comics. Yeah. So thank you guys for all tuning in. This was Spider-Man's Tangled Web Show. And we will see you all next week.